Hey, you guys, I want to share a dream that I had with you all. I want to share with you all a dream that I had August the 29th of this year. Uh, Posted one, and I say an extreme amount of times. I'll try to watch that. It's kind of hard. Uh, so, anyway, there it goes. So I was outdoors at a gather. People were gathered, and they were all sitting on the ground. It seemed like we were sitting on the ground in a fashion like if you were at an outdoor concert, outdoor play, something like that. I don't think we seemed to be watching up at the sky like everybody was with the eclipse. It I don't know why we were there, but I don't think we were watching the sky. But I noticed, I happened to look up and I noticed that the moon was moving in circles. It moved in circles, three or four, ever how many times, and then the rapture occurred. So I was taken up and I went up, um, you know, ha, ha, look, some more than halfway. I don't know how much, halfway to three-fourths of the way. And then I was very slowly, gently let back down, I guess you know, see whatever and to tell what I saw. So, sometime after the rapture occurred, there was a tremendous amount of destruction. I saw buildings fall in the manner that they did on 9/11, where they just come straight down. There was a fair amount of debris everywhere. There were a group of people who they had found a small one of those aluminum bleachers, one that's just got five or six of the benches, the graduating benches. So they had found one of those and they had taken it to just outdoorsy area that they wanted to. Um, it's a little hard to describe what the people were doing. I, I couldn't see any particular sin that anybody was committing. I mean, there were some people. Uh, a couple of people, just not like when you dance with a partner, but just dancing. Like, oh, I'm so happy dancing. I'm not saying that the dancing was sinning. I'm saying that it's like they were celebrating. That's what these people were doing, was celebrating. And it seems like they were celebrating sin, like, oh, now we can just sin with impunity, or just sin for sin's sake, or we'll sin just because, something like that. About a week after having this dream was when, in real life, when Burning Man occurred, and then I heard the spiritual description of what that is about, and it seemed to, that kind of reminded me of this, that they were um, just glorying in sin, I guess. I mean, just, I don't know, that's the only way I can describe it. Then there were people they weren't in a group. There would be like one person. I mean, I'm just saying group as in, like, if you say ethnic group, or if you said, oh, all of the techies at school, or all of the, um, all of the um, nerds or whatever. Just, a group. So, but there was a group of people who I'd see one person here, two there, one mostly, one here, one there, two here, two there. This group of people were all about God 24/7. I mean, here now on earth, we might use the phrase, oh, so and so is just really on fire for God. It just didn't even describe these people. Every breath that they took was about God. Um, I didn't get a clear, representation of exactly what. I mean, I think we could imagine, especially if they are left behind. I mean, it doesn't take too much to, imagine what they were doing, evangelizing and sharing and praising God, whatever. But I just know that these people were thoughts of God, doing what God wants them to do, doing God's work, furthering His kingdom. It was all that they thought about 24/7, every second of the day. That's all they thought about. Okay. And during this time, people traveled more by train. I saw a train going down the track with a mattress on top. So I was telling my daughter about the dream, and I said, now, obviously, that would not work. Obviously, you could not do that, because I'm thinking it would just blow off, right? But, and the mattress on top, I think, represented, I mean, in my mind, the person who had put the mattress up there was moving. The person's moving from wherever to wherever. They're moving by train. So I tell my daughter the mattress must have just represented that they were moving, because that's what the impression I got. I said, obviously you couldn't put a mattress on top of the train. And my daughter, who's a missionary, is well traveled, said in foreign countries people do this. People will put anything they can they will put on top of a train. And I was like, wow, 'cause I did not know that. Okay, I saw these giant men. They were from, I would guess, there was nothing right beside them for a reference of, okay, how tall they are. So I would just really be guessing, but they were at least the equivalent of a 2-story building at least. I mean, pure guess would be they were 30 to 40 feet tall. There were some that were in a bit like if you had a practice football field. It's not fancy. You got the lines. You've got, and there was a chain link fence around it, and then just outside of it was another one of those the metal portable bleachers. But these were ones that were a little bigger. Maybe they had 10 or 12 of those graduating benches that become like steps. Okay, so the giant men were playing something kind of like football. I didn't see a ball. They weren't running from one end to the other end. So they were playing something that, where you run, something where you kind of chase people. I don't know. And there were humans that were standing outside the chain link fence. Were watching them. Were watching the giant men playing this game. Then, that was about probably about 6, 8, 10 at the absolute most. Probably more like 7 or 8 of the giant men playing this game. Then there were about 3 or 4 giant men who were outside of that fenced-in area, outside the little practice field. What they seemed to be doing was kind of like shouting out to humans some kind of instructions. Not shouting like I'm angry or anything like that. They were just shouting to be heard. They didn't seem aggressive or mean or angry. I guess that's all I can say to that. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about all the different things were in scenes. A snippet here, a snippet there. There were different scenes. There were quite a number of indoor scenes that for sure did not seem to be occurring during the rapture. At least not on Earth. They were not occurring during the tribulation. They could have been during that time, but they were not on Earth as the tribulation is occurring. They seem to either be representative. I hate to give an interpretation, but I think it's pretty obvious that they're either like they're either in heaven or they're just there's just a spiritual application. Anyway, most of the times I was indoor, there were a lot of children. There was a lot of white, a lot of just pretty things that you want to touch. A lot of linens and white fabrics and pretty things that you just wanted to look at or touch. Everything. That's almost all of the indoor scenes were like that. There were not children in every single one of them. Anyway, so in one of the indoor scenes, I'm in a retail shop. Everything is really beautiful. A lot of white linens and fabrics and other things like you would buy in retail shop. So there was a friend with me. We were in there together looking at everything. A lady entered. My friend seemed to be, apparently my friend had, and I don't know this person in real life. I don't know who this was. Apparently my friend had committed some kind of infraction or some kind of offense where, I don't know if to the lady, but the lady was aware, and the friend did not want this lady to see her or see that she was in there. So the friend kind of like hid behind shelving or hid behind whatever was in the retail shop. My friend would just kind of try to avoid the lady seeing her, and the friend was eventually able to scoot out the door without being detected by the lady. So I stayed to, continue looking around, and got finished looking around. Then I left. So my friend gets up with me sometime later and tells me that she had waited for me for 5 hours. That after leaving the shop, apparently she felt okay. I felt really, 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 really bad because I didn't know that she was going to wait for me somewhere. I didn't know that we were supposed to get back up. I certainly wouldn't wanted her to have waited for 5 hours. I felt really bad. That was the end of that scene. Okay, in another indoor scene, there were children. They were, pretty and happy and all pretty much, all dressed in white. And then their clothes didn't match, and the clothing was not identical, but they were all wearing white. They were all, pretty children or whatever. In this scene, I seemed to be closer to their age. They seemed to be, maybe from 8 to 12 years old or something like that. I seemed to be, I was more involved with them. I was involved with what they were doing, not just observing. So this would be sort of like if you were, let's say if you had been in band in high school or whatever, and band is getting new band uniforms. That's like really exciting. And when they come, let's say they all come in boxes or some kind of packaging, and you're looking for the one that's yours. You're looking, and that's like exciting and a big deal to find it and pull it out and look at it and put it on and all that. With all these kids, they were preparing for a play, and what they were opening, and what they were trying to find in these packaging or whatever was the garment that was theirs for the play. And of course the garments were all white. They were pretty, whatever. People were, and they were holding them up to themselves like, oh, oh, look, it's so pretty. And they were either indoors in what kind of seemed like it would be a shop or store, but there were not really a lot of things around to look at. It was kind of empty. And then they were going from in there, going out the door, and there was like a wraparound porch, and they were outside on the porch, and they were either showing their garment or holding it up to themselves, or they were trying to find the one that was theirs, and because they were preparing for a play. Okay, and that was the end of that scene. In another indoor scene, in this one I am adult, and there was it was all just children except for myself, and it was like a tea party, and myself and two of the little girls that seemed to be about 10 to 12 years old were sitting at those tables that they fold, they're plastic or whatever, they fold up, and you might have them like a cafeteria or something. They're, I don't know, 2.5 to maybe like 8 feet long or something by 2.5, 3 or something like that. So it was one of those pushed up against the corner of the wall and then down the one wall, and then myself and these two little girls are sitting in chairs, kind of like facing the wall. Because the table was pushed up against the wall, and I'm in the middle of the two little girls, and the one little girl, the girl to my left, gives me a drink in a little teacup that was, but not like when little kids have a tea party, you have little plastic cups. It was a real ceramic or china cup that was probably about the size of a Demitasse cup, but shaped like the little, shaped like a little teacup. But it was, but it was real, and you could actually drink out of it because it was like at least Demitasse size. Okay. am not a person who cares for spices, and certainly I don't use a lot of spices in my cooking. I surely don't like them in a drink like a tea or something. I don't like spiced tea. So the little girl gives me a drink. It was in the little china cup. It was amber colored, and you could see liquid on the top, but then you could see like about an inch of just where it was just nothing but spices. Okay. In real life, I would say, oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, that's okay. Or just barely drink the liquid off the top, but be sure not to get those spices. But anyway, she gives me the drink, and I think I said it was amber colored, and it was probably the most delicious thing I've ever drank in my life. So I asked that little girl, the girl to my left, well, where are you from? And she said, Dundee Mountain. And then I turned to which I was more facing that little girl, so I had to kind of like really turn around to the girl to my right and say, well, where are you from? And she said, Dundee Mountain. I've never heard of a Dundee Mountain in my life. So, and I Googled it, and there is a Dundee Mountain in Wisconsin. And I will say, even before Googling it, I thought, I can't believe, I even had I just knew the spelling. I knew there would be a Dundee Mountain, because with a dream like this, that it's not just you're thinking of whatever. And during this time, one of the dreams I posted happened at the end of July. This was at the end of August. Between those two, and since the one in August, I've probably dreamed every night and cannot remember one single thing. Can't remember a single thing. Now, I normally could dream, but I cannot. Around this time, I can a dream that's just a dream, just coming out of my emotions or experiences or whatever. That I wake up, I cannot remember during this time of having these dreams. I cannot remember a single solitary, not one thing, not even a feeling about what it was about or what happened. But these dreams, I just have complete total recall. Okay, so another scene that was indoors was there was a large warehouse kind of building, but it was a one room. You open the door of the building, it's one big room, and there were ladies who were there were no children. Everybody wasn't attractive and all in white and all this kind of thing. It was just ladies who were sit at a large round table, and they were sewing. The things they were sewing were pretty and white, and it was just things you really wanted to look at. So first I'm kind of watching them, looking at the things, and then I start handling everything, picking everything up and looking and turning everything over and really looking at everything. And when I had just been standing and watching, this one particular lady that seemed to be in charge, she didn't mind if I was like standing, just watching. But when I started picking everything up and handling it, turning them over and all that, she said, yeah, you're going to have to leave because you're not in this class. So like I said, she seemed to be, she didn't seem to really pay any attention when I was just observing. But when I started handling all the fabrics and other things I had sewn and everything, she let me know that I needed to leave. Okay, that was the end of that scene. In another indoor scene, there were 10 or so people in this lady's house. And they were. Oh, and there were no children here. These people were interested in the things of God. They were talking about God. And the one lady that, I think it was the lady that it was her house, well, I don't know. But anyway, this one lady shared that she had been watching the Rapture videos but that they only came on Thursdays. My other dream that I posted, there was also a Thursday reference, which that's interesting. So the lady said, "Yeah, she was encouraging people to watch them. She was into watching them, but I guess she was like, oh, but it's kind of a bummer because they only." She stated that they only came on Thursdays. Okay. And all these indoor scenes, they're when I'm sharing, I really don't know the order, and I don't think it was like the indoor scenes were all like the ones that was obviously during the tribulation that they were completely. I don't know the order, except for I know that the first, those few scenes are in order, and at the very last, but in between, whether it was what was happening during the tribulation with the train, with the people reveling in the sin, with the destruction of buildings, all those different scenes, or then the indoor scenes, I think they were seemed mixed in to the most part. It just seemed, because I don't know of any order, or don't know the order, and I just stated I had total recall. I did with details, except for not in the order. But anyway, so okay. So, but I put the indoor ones together because I don't know the order, because they seem to more. I mean, they're not during the revelation, or they're not during the tribulation, and so I don't know. Anywho, so let's see. So then later, this did not occur right after the part where the lady was sharing about, I've been watching the rapture videos. It was the same house, same lady's house. I don't know where, in what order. I don't know when this part was. It was not right after, even though, it was the same. It was later, but it was, okay, it was occurred later in my dreaming, but it was back in the same lady's house. And now it's evening, and all the other people are gone. It's just she and her husband. So for some reason, I just decided to take a self-guided, uninvited, I'll say, tour of her house. And so I'm going from room to room to room. There's a lot of pretty linens, a lot of white, a lot of things you want. I'm just looking at everything. And this time I'm not touching like I was at where the ladies were sewing. But I'm looking at, like, literally I'm looking at every single thing. And I'm going from room to room to room. I eventually come to what was the couple's bedroom. And I walk on in, and her husband's in his pajamas. He's laying on top of the quilt, but the bedding, but he's in his pajamas, the old fashioned with the long sleeve top and the long pants, pajama pants, matching top and pants, and he's laying on top of the bedding. And so this is when because I had gone into the bedroom and her husband's there in bed, or on top of the bed, this is when the lady kind of, I guess she'd had enough. She takes me by the elbow and is leading me out of her house, which can't blame her there. So she's leading me out of her house. So she's got me by the elbow and she's kind of taking me, but then she's not there, and I'm I'm left, and I'm trying to find the way to get out of her house. So there were several doors. At least 3 or 4. Okay, the first one I come to, there were a lot of those linens and whatever things that were textile things that were pretty to look at, and it wasn't just a heap dumps in front of the door. Everything was very neat. Everything was folded and neat and in stacks, but it was obstructing exiting the door. It was an obstruction. So that was obviously not the door for me to be leaving out. The next door, you ever maybe some of you have seen this in real life. I've only seen it in movies where an elevator has supposed to has become stuck between floors. And with the door open, you're either looking at the floor is up above or the floor is down below the where the elevator door is open. So the second door was like that. You go down the hall, and the door is actually down in. You only see half of the door because the other half is down below. Well, I thought, that just wasn't going to be the door for me to try to get out of. So I eventually come to a door that is obviously the way, the only way, the one only way to get out of her house. And so I go out of the door. And by myself, I've been the only person in there except for the couple. But as soon as I'm out the door, there was a lady in front of me who's also apparently trying to leave. And this door, the way it opened, when you came out the door, you were in the corner of I guess apparently the house was L-shaped. And you're in the back where you've got, the door opens, you're in that corner where you've got a wall coming out in front of you, and you have a wall going off it would be to the right. So, so to your left, there's a wall. Behind you, there's a wall of the house. In front of you, there's this, there's some kind of like a man-made water feature, like a koi pond type thing or something, with rocks, and it's kind of looks kind of not necessarily deep like the water's deep, but it goes on down in there before the water starts. So the lady that was in front of me, she slips into this pool. She had not intended to get wet, or wasn't thinking she was going to be going in the water. But once she was in, she was like, "Oh, the water actually feels nice." And once she hit the water, it kind of turned into a thing where, sort of like if you're in a water slide, how you move down a ways. Well, it was like that. After hitting the water, she also kind of like, is sliding about the 8 or 10 feet length of this pond or pool or whatever. And she was like, "Oh, that was like, it was like that was fun. That was, she indicated that had actually, she was surprised because it actually had been fun and the water actually felt good." And I've loved water all my life. I've swam since I was 4 or 5, and water skied and was a lifeguard, the whole shebang. And even though she said, "Oh, the water felt good, that was nice," I didn't want to get wet. I wasn't fearful of getting wet. I wasn't afraid that I would end up getting wet. I just didn't want to. I just did not want to go in the pond and get wet. So as I'm turning it, there was like a little super, 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 super narrow little trail and it was rocky, it was slippery and all this to get around this pond. And as I turned to the left to try to, okay, I'm not going to go in the water, I'm going to try to get around this thing. Instantly there's a man in front of me. And as it turns out, the only way that I could get around this pond with this, narrow, it was like the width of 1 foot. It's like the width of your foot. You can't, if you put your feet side by side and stand there, you're something's off the trail. To stay on it, you literally have to very, very carefully put 1 foot in front of the other on this very narrow trail. So, as it turns out, the only way I would be able to safely get around the pond was to follow this man and literally put my right foot wherever he puts his right foot, put my left foot just literally step for step, follow this man, and then I could get safely around the pond. Okay. This is back to being outside scenes that apparently are during the tribulation. So this is back to being during the tribulation. So I'm walking to get away from this. I'm walking to get away from whatever the area where more of the people were, the area where the giants were. Specifically, remember that it was going away from where the giants were. And I'm walking, and then there's this music playing from back from the area, and I knew I did not want to hear this music. I didn't think it. This music was not for me. I did not want to listen to this music. I did not need to be listening to this music. So I start walking much more rapidly and plugging my ears to where I don't have to hear that. eventually I get away from the music, and then I come up on an area where there are 10 people seated on a bench, one by one, in a orderly, like 1 second, now the next person, the next second, the next person, in a timed fashion. They each, starting with the person on the left, like if you're reading left to right, in order, one by one, the people became illuminated. Not like a light shining on them, but they became made of light. After the first person, okay, these people have been live, real people, live like we are on Earth. But after the first person, the second person became illuminated. I could see that before, the state that they were in, they had not. Even their skin, it was like they were actually dim. Like the difference, if you go into a room that's so dim, you can see and everything, but it's just very dim. And then, bam, this bright lights. The difference, the difference was, it was incredible. But I could see whatever that before, although we're on Earth, we're walking around, we're alive, we're not. It's very dim though. It's the way we will be changed, the way we will be alive is, we're certainly not ghosts. You're so alive. You're so much more alive than you thought you were here on Earth. It was amazing. It was incredible to watch. It was just the most. It was just something amazing to see these people change. So, and it was in it was perfectly timed, perfectly orderly, and I watched every person change. And not only change, like they became, illuminated, whereas before that they were very dim. They changed to be attractive, but nobody was like, oh my gracious, he's like the most, he would be in GQ, or he would be in Male Mall, or the lady, oh, that's the most beautiful. Everybody just was attractive, not like, oh my great, not stunningly beautiful or something like that, just attractive. Until it got to the 7th or 8th person, that when they changed, all these people changed to look like themselves, but attractive. But the 7th or 8th person, when they changed, they looked just like Fiona from Shrek, except for without the ears and without the hair. They had she I guess had the bulbous nose and the big huge face and the huge forehead. It really looked like Fiona from Shrek, like I said, without the weird ears and without the whatever hair. She had normal hair, but the face was very much like Fiona from Shrek. But this person had the most, after changing, they had the most unbelievable, incredible, amazing countenance. So that it wasn't like I could not take everybody else I had looked from the one when they changed to the next person they changed, and I saw them all change. But the last 2 or ever how many people, 2 or 3 people, I didn't see them change because I couldn't take my eyes off of this. Oh, and maybe I saw Shrek. Maybe I saw the whole thing when it came out. Ever how many years ago? I think that's probably been like almost 20 years. I don't know how long. I never saw it again. Haven't seen any reference to it, like anything like that. But like I say, I could not take my eyes off of this not attractive person, but because of their countenance, the smile, the brightness in their face, the just joy, like not like I have joy, like I am joy, not like I have happiness, I am happiness. It's just like that, just the pure essence of who this person was joy and happiness and an incredibly happy, cheerful countenance, smiley, very, 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 very smiley. The other ones changed. I don't remember a smile in particular. I just remember they changed. They were illuminated. Now they were really alive, whereas before they weren't. And they were attractive. But I don't remember any of them smiling. Not that they were frowning. I mean, not that they were sad or miserable or something. But it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't as like pointed out in the dream. But this seventh or eighth person, they're you just wanted to stare at them not because of the looks, but because of what their face radiated. The attitude, just countenance. I don't know how else to really describe it. Okay, so that scene is over with, and then at the very end of the dream, the dream that I had, the rapture scene repeated, where the moon went around in circles several times, and then the rapture occurred. And at this point, I think there was a reference to Thursday, which there was earlier in the this dream. There was a reference to Thursday, with the lady saying that the rapture videos only came out on Thursday. At the very end of the dream, like I said, there was the moon circled again, and then the rapture occurred, and there was some kind of reference to a Thursday. And in another dream that I posted, there was also the reference to Thursday. So one reference in that dream, two in this dream that refer to Thursday. Okay, God bless you all, people. Be in the Word and praying, staying fellowship and connecting and worshiping the Lord. Not just watching videos, but and fellowship with other believers, etc. And just thank you for listening. God bless you.